Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
The sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana meaning meditation. It is also called Abhyasa Yoga. Abhyasa meaning practice. How to undertake meditation is described in this chapter. The word yoga is defined as Atma Avaloka Sadhanam. Atma means the self, or in the Yoga Sutra terminology it is Drashta. Avaloka means to see clearly. Ava means on all sides. Lokam means actually this world. Just as we see this world, the ability to turn our mind inwards and realize the self is avalokam. Sadhanam is a practice. So Atma Avaloka Sadhanam means yoga is a practice undertaken to know one's own self or realize the true nature of Drashta. What Patanjali says at that time, there is Tada, then Drashtuhu, the Drashta, Swarupe Avasthanam, resides in his own state or a state of peace. The methodology to attain that state is described in this chapter. The first verse is Anashita karma balam karyam karma karoti yoha sasanyasi cha yogi cha naniragnir nachakriyaha yam sanyasamiti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava nakhya sanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kashana. That is, sannyasi are a monk, and yogi here referring to the one who undertakes the karma yoga. Both are the same because the fundamental lakshana or the precise definition of a sannyasi or a yogi is one who has given up kama or desire, which results in sankalpa. Sankalpa means, the determination to say I should get this, I should get that, and so on, that feeling. Therefore, both are the same. He says in the third verse, Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanamuchyate yoga rudasya tasyeva shamah karanamuchyate. Arurukshu means the one who wants to climb the mountain of yoga, the one who wants to go up. For him, karma karanam means the cause or what helps to climb the mountain of yoga is karma. Karma action here refers to the 8 limbs of yoga, and Aruda means the one who has already reached the top of the mountain. For such a person, the person should continue to stay in that state, and Shamaha here refers to Vairagya. What Patanjali says in the first chapter 30th verse, he says Vyadhisthana Samshaya. He is talking about the 9 impediments. The last one is Anavasthitatvam. Having attained the state of Samadhi, there should not be an inability to maintain and continue to stay that state of Samadhi. That is Shamaha, that is Vairagya, or a state of total detachment. That is why Patanjali emphasizes the role of Vairagya. So, we can even say Abhyasa, or the means to go up, is the 8 limbs of yoga. Vairagya is continue to stay in that highest state and make sure one doesn't fall down. The same idea is extended also in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, where it is said Arurukshu is the Hatha Yoga and Aruda the means to do that is Raja Yoga. Now, the fourth verse says the Lakshana of the Yoga Rudha, or a person who has attained the highest state. It says naturally the person should be totally controlled, all the senses are under his control. The fifth and the sixth verse emphasize the importance of the control of our mind to reach that state, because it is our actions that lead us to bondage and it is our actions that lead us to freedom. So therefore, Bhagavan Krishna here says, Uddaret Atmanatmanam Atmanam Hapasadayet Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. One has to lift himself up using the mind, because the mind is the best friend and mind is the worst foe. That is why he says, the Bandhuratma, the next verse he says, if the Bandhu means the dear relation, relationship is called Bandhu in Sanskrit. If the mind becomes the best friend, it helps you to go, or it helps you to know your own self, because only using the mind we connect to the outside world and we connect to the self also. So therefore he says, the one who has conquered his mind has conquered the world. There is another saying also. So therefore he says, please make sure that the mind is conquered, because it is the mind that is responsible for freedom or bondage. The concept is presented. You may also find in Buddhism other texts. He says you are your boss. Who else can be the boss, and so on. That is what is reflected here in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, you will find the 7th, 8th and 9th verse speaks about the great qualities of a Arudha. Arudha means a yogi who has reached the highest state, or who has reached the peak of the mountain. Then from 10th onwards, the presentation of how the yoga practice should be undertaken is presented.